In the quiet moments before the world wakes up, there's a place where pain meets peace, where every breath feels like a prayer and grief stands still. We carry the weight of what was and search for meaning in the smallest things. And sometimes all it takes is one moment to remind us we're still here, still healing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. You guys know who it is. It's Mitch. I am the host of this podcast. And yes, we are your number one podcast for bringing you stories around death, dying, and grief, all the messiness that comes in between with some amazing people out here changing people's lives one heartbeat at a time. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, do me a favor, head on over to that YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified at the time that we drop a new episode. And this is a live stream, so if you have any questions or comments for either myself or my guest, please put them in the comment section. We'll be sure to answer them as we go. One other thing, this is for educational purposes only. Now, without further ado, guys, help me welcome my guest and my friend, Lacole Smith, to the show. Lacole, how are you doing, friend?
I am fine. How are you doing, Tony?
I am doing amazing, right? You know, I'm still 10 toes above ground. I'm here. We're doing this podcast today. I was on your podcast yesterday, and, you know, I'm just looking to just have a great time. I've had you on the show before, but you do a whole lot of other stuff in the grief field, as well as being a publishing company as well, right? And you have books, which we'll talk about that later. So
Okay.
before we get started, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience. So tell people who you are, where you're from, and about the work that you do.
Okay, so my name is Lacole Smith. As Tony said, I am the CEO and founder of AL Publishing and Consulting. I have a show on Facebook that's called Motivational Talk Dialogue and Show. I am from the Boot, Louisiana. It is hot down here right now. It's burning up hot, but
Oh,
we're in for a good time. I also have a new business called Legacy Ink Market where I do printing as well. So those are the three things that I have basically up front and working on the most right now. But taking in clients and they've been coming left and right. So I'm just happy to be able to do what I do.
I can understand that, and thank you for the work that you do. You make it easy for the individuals like myself to find people to work with us, to be able to get our books out there, to be able to accomplish those things that that most people make it pretty hard for us to do for the most part, right? Or they want to charge you an arm and a leg and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, what made you want to get into the publishing field and things like that?
Honestly, I really did not want to get into this business. I'm a transparent person. I'm gonna keep it real. I never wanted to or never saw myself doing this. Actually, I thought that I would be a fashion designer. Um, so that's kind of far-fetched, but when I wrote my first book, Leaps of Faith, and it was a headache because you have to go over here for the publishing, you got to get it edited, you got to get it formatted, you have to get a book cover, you have to get all of these things, and all of these things come from different people. So, you're dealing with this person over here, and they're saying, oh, no, you can't do this, or you do this. And then you go back over here, and they like, okay, why did you change this? It was just too much.
Yeah,
Um, when I finally did get my book published through um, I went through Amazon like self-publishing, but even that was, you know, okay, we got to approve your cover. Why is mine? You
right.
know, it was just the little simple things, and I started listening to other people in the groups that I was in saying, okay, they didn't accept this and they wasn't doing this and I can't do this and they changed my wording. And I was like, well, I wonder what would happen if everything was in one place. If you can get everything under one umbrella, the editing, the formatting, the book cover, your ISBN, every single thing can come through one company. And on top of that, I'm a certified life coach as well. So a lot of the people that I deal with have been through some kind of trauma. And I was like, so I can actually talk to them about the trauma. I can help them through that while they're writing the book. And that's how AL Publishing and Consulting kind of got started. It started from my frustration of what I went through from writing my book.
Okay. And when people come to work with you to get their books published, what can they expect from Nicole and her company?
Well, they're gonna expect and get hands on. I know every single thing about each and every one of my clients. Um, I know if they have an event going on. I know if they're happy, they're sad, they have birthdays. We celebrate all of this. It's not anything that I separate and say, okay, you're just a number. So you get that hands-on, one-on-one service from my company. You get your own voice. I am not going to change your wording. Now, I will edit it and format it the way it needs to be so that it's readable and understandable, but it's still going to be your wording. I'm not taking anything from you. I'm not adding anything for your book cover. Your book cover is your book cover, long as it's respectful, because I have to put that out there. It has to be respectful to everybody that I feel like around and might read or see your book, because at the end of the day, it's still something coming from AL Publishing and Consulting, and I want to be the type of company that keeps everything clean, keeps everything respectful, have everybody's feelings and thoughts in mind when we print and publish. So I definitely strive for the respect of the world, not just for me, the respect for my client, the respect for the company, the respect for everybody that's gonna pick that book up and read it. This is what you're gonna get from AL Publishing and Consulting. Um, it's nothing that you're gonna do, nothing that you're gonna deal with that I'm not gonna be right there with you. I pop up at book signing, I show up at book signing, I I send you gifts just because you had something going on. I have a bestsellers list through my publication. We'll talk about that through the printing company. I will talk about that a little later. But everything is designed to personalize your experience so that you don't feel like a number. You feel like the person that you are when you came in to write that book.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And now, what makes a successful author? Like, because when you have a title like international best-selling author or best-selling author on whichever platform, whether it be Hulu, Amazon, any of those platforms right there, what makes a best-selling author?
Well, honestly, the best selling author part comes from the number of books you sell.
Hmm.
So it doesn't, they don't even look at the book itself. All they're going about is how many books you sold. And if you sold more books on their platform than anybody else, they say that you're a best-selling author. But does that really mean that you're not because you didn't get the most sales?
Right.
You still can be a best-selling author. You just up against a whole bunch of people, and that's another thing that makes us unique because I pick my best-selling authors. I pick whoever has something going on for that week. And it's not because you sold the most books. It's not because um somebody said, "Oh, this is a best-selling book." I go by the integrity of the book. I go
Mhm.
by some of the sales, and I go by what people are looking for in that moment. Because that moment changes from week to week. So
Mhm.
sometimes this week you may be looking for something dealing with weight loss. Next week you might be looking for something on how to exercise. And this is just like in the fitness realm of things. So that's what makes a best-selling author. And it could be more than one in that week. So just because um Tina over here is a best-selling author doesn't mean that Andrea cannot be a best-selling author. They might be both a best-selling author that week because their books are on two different levels. So it's a lot of time and effort and care put into everything that I do for my clients.
I love that. I love that. And when when you talk about trauma, right? Grief and trauma, things like that. Do you think that adds to the value given the book that you're putting out into the market? Because we do work in the grief field, trauma, mental health, addiction, all of these different things, and I'd love to see that we have a lot more resources coming out, a lot more books, a lot more people standing up and doing podcasting and things like that. Does it add to the quality and the value when they put these books together to get them out there, to the customers? Does it make it more intriguing?
Sometimes it does, but
Mhm.
a lot of times it's just a matter of what people are really looking for in that
Mhm.
moment. Because, you know, if I'm not dealing with grief, I'm not gonna look for a grief book in that
Right,
moment.
right, right.
If I'm not going through a trauma at that time, I'm probably not gonna look for trauma. But if I'm gonna put something out there that's gonna catch everybody's attention, even though it might be talking about grief,
Mhm.
the titles need to be designed to catch people's attention. And that's what I focus on. Even though this book might be about grief or it might be about trauma or it might be about faith, what's gonna catch everybody's attention? And
Mhm.
that's what we do before we put out the book covers through AL Publishing and Consulting. We come up with what is going to be the best logical title to your book and subtitle to your book to make sure that it catches everybody's attention, no matter what they're dealing with at that time. So, the book covers, the synopsis, all of these play a big part in whether people are going to buy and read your book. Now, if they know you, it's going to probably raise those standards because they're going to buy the book because I tell everybody, people buy your stuff because they know you. They want to
Mhm.
see what's going on. They want to know what's going on in your life because they know who you are. So they're more prone to buy your book too. But for a stranger, they gonna buy the book by what it's talking about and what the book cover says, or if that book cover catches their attention.
Okay. Now, when it comes down to understanding that, what's the biggest thing when it comes down to putting out a good quality book? Is it the brand, or is it how you market it as well?
It's a lot to do with how you market your book. A lot of people they write a book, they put it on their page, and they let it sit there. They really don't do anything much else with it.
Right.
Um, you have to start, showing up on podcasts, talking about your book. You have to show up on radio shows and talk about your book. You have to steadily, you know, at least put it on your page. I say twice, three times a week, so that people know what's going on. They know that they can get it. They know where to go. Um, your merchandise, because once you write a book, a lot of people don't realize it. Your book is a brand. So once you write a book, your book is your branding,
Yeah.
So where do everybody come to get my book? LacoleSmith.com. So
That
your
like
marketing,
that.
your branding, you got to make sure that because if I go to the store when I get off of this podcast, somebody's gonna see my shirt and they're gonna say LacoleSmith.com. I never heard of it. Let me go check that out. So
Mhm.
even though you're not physically talking to people all the time, your merchandise can speak volume.
Mhm.
Because one thing I do know, people love to buy t-shirts. They love to buy anything that's gonna be like a tote or something that they can pick up and go, a journal, stuff like that, something that's easy, quick, talk about whatever's going on, they will purchase it. So now you have other people wearing your merchandise and they're going in front of people that you're never going to see or you might
Exactly.
not see. So
Yeah.
now they're marketing for you as well just by wearing your merchandise. And a lot of people, they don't merchandise the item that they put out there. I have a shirt that says Leaps of Faith. When I go out, people wondering, okay, well, what's Leaps of Faith? On the back of it, it says LacoleSmith.com. So go to LacoleSmith.com, you'll find out exactly what my book is about, what I'm talking about, what I'm doing. And I show up for myself and my brand. Even though my book is one thing, my brand right now is AL Publishing and Consulting because that came because of my book.
Mhm. Now, becoming a life coach, um, what was the what was the aha moment that made you say this is what I wanted to do? And because you found out a way, and I love it when people do this. You found out a way to bring all of that stuff together, right? And it was a very smooth weave and transition where you was like, oh, this fits into here, oh, this fits in there, and you brought it together, right, to do something beautiful with it. So being a life coach, which was what prompted you to go and become a life coach?
Um, for a lot of my life, I've actually just held conversations with people. I am, I guess, a good listener, and I guess honestly, I give good advice even before I became a life coach
Okay.
because people were drawn to me to tell me what was going on in their life. Um, and one of the things that I kept seeing was people are putting out books, but are you really healing when you put that book out there? Just because you write about it, are you starting to heal? Are you in that healing process? So I knew for myself after I wrote my book that I needed more than just to put it on the paper because all of these feelings and emotions come up because you're thinking about it, you're writing about it, you're basically back in that situation that you were in because you're putting it on that paper. So I needed help for myself. I needed to know that, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I mentally in the right space since I wrote this book? Um, and I did seek counsel. Um, for some of the things that I went through, I did go and seek counsel for it. But even in that, I didn't feel like it was a big connection. It was a big help to my healing. But I was actually on Facebook one day and I was just strolling and I came across the company that I went through, Transformation Academy. And I was looking at all the different things that they offered, and I was like, if I was a life coach and I learned how to teach other people how to deal with life situations, maybe it can teach me. So I actually got into it to help myself heal, not because I was trying to heal anybody else or help anybody else. Because at that point in time, I wasn't even having clients. I hadn't even gotten to that point yet.
Okay. And you've gone through your fair share of trauma and pain in this journey. And I think
Yeah.
that's what adds more of an authenticity to the things that you do and the compassion that you have for helping those individuals. Can we touch on that a little bit? And how did those influence the work that you do today?
I've been through a whole lot in my life. You know, at the age of 12, our house was burned down in a fire. So we lost our home. So, even though we wasn't homeless and out on the street, we stayed with family until we was able to get somewhere to stay. But you still feel homeless, if that makes sense to anybody that's listening to this. because you're misplaced. You're not in your own space. You're not able to do the things that you were able to do. So even though you're not technically out on the street homeless, you still feel that way. And at the age of 12, I really felt just out of place. I felt like I didn't have any space for myself. I didn't have anything that I could connect to once our house burned down. And even, my dad built our house back within a year, and we got back in the house, and it was like once you got back in that place that you feel secure, you feel safe, you feel protected, because this is something that I can come to every day, and I know it's something that's mine. I have my own room. I have, whatever it is. And so that was one of the things that I went through. Got pregnant at a young age, got married at a young age, got divorced at a young age. So went through all of this. Actually, I got divorced a month before my first daughter was born. Um, so that was something that was weighing on me. Then I had an accident with two 18-wheelers, got hit by two 18-wheelers. So I was down. I was uh, down for a period of time. So I felt like, I felt weak. I'm gonna just be real. I felt weak. I felt like I couldn't hold my own because I was very independent. So when you're so independent like I was, it takes a lot out of you when you have to
Yes.
rely on other people to do stuff.
Right.
Um, I was going and doing for my children. My parents were wonderful help. Um, my oldest daughter grandparent were a great help too. Um, it was a lot going on in a little period of time, and then here we go. When you think you're getting your footing, I lost my mom. So that was another hit. Lost my mom March 2016, August 2016. We lost our house in a flood. Uh, November 2016, I got married. So it was like a whole bunch of stuff going on at one time. Actually, we were in the process of getting ready for my oldest daughter's wedding when the flood happened. Her
Oh wow.
wedding was 4 days away when the flood happened. And we still actually we had to move locations, we had to do some stuff, we had to do some shifting, but she was still able to get married on August the 20th. Um, it was just that year was just totally chaotic. It was I don't even know. It was crazy. Moving forward, 2021, 2021, yeah, 2021, I found out that my numbers were high and I was at high risk of getting breast cancer. So I ended up going on a chemo pill, which I'm still on to this day. I have 1 year left, actually a little less than a year for to take the chemo pill. Uh, gotta get my health in check, gotta get everything in check, so you're dealing with that part, um, trying to deal with all of this stuff that's going on. And I had a heart attack. A lot of people probably don't know about that. I had a heart attack probably about 4 months ago.
What?
So I'm going through that. I'm dealing with it. Didn't even know it was a heart attack. I thought it was heartburn. So dealing with that, coming out of it, and that light bulb kind of clicks that says it's time to really focus because you have a legacy of people that's behind you, my children, my grandchildren. So now this was your wake up call and say it's time to make sure that you're getting healthy and help other people get healthy. So that's a journey that I'm on as well. Um, I actually lost my dad in 2023. So now both of my parents are not with us. And it was hard losing my mom. My mom was my best friend, but I was a daddy's girl. And when I lost my dad, that one really, really hurt. Um, Losing my mom hurt, but the reality of both of my parents being gone was very devastating to me because I honestly believe that my dad would live to be 100 years old. That was always in my mind. My dad was gonna be this old man, um, at 100 years old, able to run on 100 and beat people that's younger than him. That was
Yeah.
the mindset that I always had. And for him to not even see 70 years, it really hit me hard. Um, so now I'm just at the point where I want to make sure that everything that I do, everything that I put in place is not just because it's going to be good for me, but I'm creating a legacy for my children, for my grandchildren, for my great great grandchildren. This has nothing to do with me. This is all about what God wants me to do. Um, and at the age of 12, my mom told me that her and my dad would help people then and me later. And I'm like, I don't even like people that much. So how I'm gonna help people at 12 years old? Like I really didn't. Like I really didn't. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't like being around a lot of people, and I definitely didn't like people hugging on me, touching on me. Like that grossed me out. But you gonna tell me that I'm gonna help people later, and to be walking in the legacy that she spoke at the age of 12, and I look at it and I appreciate her even seeing it then because I didn't see it.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at now on this journey. I just want to do everything I can do to make God proud of of what He placed in my lap. I
Right.
want to make Him proud. I want to make Him say I picked the right person.
I love that. I love that because I think everybody should have certain goals that encourage them to keep going forward, right? To
Right.
keep finding that different version of yourself that just really shines into the world. And I'm very thankful to even be in this field because I'm surrounded by so many people that carry that light with them, right? That have that compassion, and to watch these individuals work is a thing of beauty, right? Because when we talk about grief and trauma and all the things that we've had to go through and actually heal from, but actually and actually take the time to understand it, right? To the depth that we do and go, you know what? I'm not going to be like that person over here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it around and use it in a way to add value to people's lives because I don't want someone else to have to go through what I've gone through. And it's a very common statement that we all make, those of us that are in this field. We don't want other people to have to struggle the way that we did, right? And when you look at the amount of people that we know in the field now, right? Because considering how fast and how big it's been growing, it's like that's a whole lot of people out here, right? Hold on, we thought that we only had a little small amount of people that was going through this, and we realized, like, hold on, you wasn't here when I was in here when I first started. Where did you come from? Right? But it's
Exactly.
beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful because I, and and this is just me when I say this, but I feel that we in a time in the world now to where you're seeing more people like ourselves step into their gift, their purpose, and be aligned with what they want to do in the world or what they're called to do in this world, to be the best version of themselves and what God has seen for them, right? To say, this is what I see for you. It's so much bigger than what you see for yourself. Follow me, trust me, and allow me to show you how big this can be, right? And how beautiful it can be. And most people get to a certain point and they fall away from it because it does get hard. It does, it's just like you already know.
Yes.
Writing a book is going to bring up so much in your life, right? Things that you never even thought about it. You may find yourself erasing pages and go, well, I gotta put this in there now. I gotta put this in there now. I gotta put all these different things in there. And people never really understand the depth of the pain that comes along with that when you have to recall those different things, because you have to do a couple of things. And I could be wrong about this. And please let me know what you think. But you have to retrain your brain to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
because your brain is designed to keep you safe, right? And it doesn't want you to relive these traumatic moments. And so it will cover it up with different things. And you have to really dig through the spider webs in order to go, that's the truth that I'm looking for right there. I'm gonna share a little bit of what made me really think about it. When I was beginning the healing process, I realized there was gaps. There was so many gaps in my thought process, in my memory, that I had to take the time out, and I began to slow it down. I began to see glimpses of the truth that had gotten all this stuff piled on. And I went in, I said, no, I need you to show me that, right? And my brain would go, you don't want to see that. You don't, no, you want to stay over here, and this, you don't really want to see what's over here, do you? And I go, no, I do. And they go, no, let me just put this one in there. And it took me a while, but once I started punching through it and beginning grabbing the truth, life took on its own different vision for me at that, right? And it was painful to come up with to even actually recognize the truth of the life that I had lived up until
Mm-hmm.
this moment, and had to go in um, and rewire everything, develop a different mindset and go, I cannot be the only one. I know I'm not the only one. And then become courageous enough, or, crazy enough, to go out there and seek out people that was going through something similar, like myself. And it was the best decision I ever made, because you was part of my conference this year, the Global Grief Conference, right? You got to see the whole process of how that worked out, and I tell everybody, it came from a thought, and the thought was, why not? It's never been done before. This is the biggest one that's ever been done. Can I do this? And the answer was yes. And it was, I tell you, and everything else that came along with that was just amazing as well, right? So, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the Global Grief Network, the conference, and that journey?
It
Yes,
was
yes, yes, it is.
very, it was very, very smooth. Um, to have that many people, basically, you can say in one space, almost at the same time, and everything just transitioned so smoothly for the global grief conference. Even a conference in person, sometimes you have hiccups and you have issues and things get all out of whack. But it was a smooth transition. People were from all over the world, not all over the USA. They were from everywhere and came together for the focus of helping people to heal with grief and helping them understand different things. I actually got a whole lot from the Global Grief Conference. And to this day, I still go back and actually look at some of the information from it when I'm having my moments, because it still helps, even though it was months ago. So it's something that people can keep going to and keep watching and keep looking at, because it will benefit them, with their whatever it is that they're dealing with. Not only that, but you can refer people back to it when they,
Mhm.
when something happens in their life, they can go back and say, hey, I think you ought to go to the Global Grief Conference and check out speaker XYZ, because this
Mhm.
is what I see, this is what you're dealing with, and I know that they have a solution for that. So everything about the Global Grief Conference was definitely on point. It was um it was very outstanding. It was very emotional, some of it, because the truth that came, the transparency that was poured out, the information. You never actually know what people are dealing with and how they feel, and the things that they had to overcome, the hurdles they had to cross over, the races that they had to run just to save their own lives. It was remarkable. Um, and I was glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to have you a part of it as well. And my friend Regina wants some book. She was there too, man. It's so many amazing people. You know, being around all of those like-minded individuals, did it change your perception of how we now look at the grief world when you see as many people? Because when you're out here on Facebook, you may not see all of these different individuals, right? Because everybody's off doing this, or you may not even be following them, or and things like that. But when you're in a room with these individuals and having conversations and listening to their stories and feeling their energy that they have, what does that give you? When you look at the totality of the picture.
Well, for me, sometimes it was just a sigh of relief that I'm not the only person dealing with this. And
Mhm.
I actually follow a couple of the people from the conference.
Yeah.
So I made new connections. I've met, people that I can relate to. So I think every year you're gonna make new connections, you're gonna make new friends, you're gonna follow new people, you're gonna expand your territory,
Mhm.
because once you make these connections, then you're part of their connections as well. So basically, it was a worldwide, global plug that came from your outlet and transformed all over the globe. So
Yeah.
now people that never would have seen someone actually know someone from miles and miles and countries away.
Mhm.
Um, and the way different countries think, because that's something different too.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot. It was wonderful. It was being in the same place and listening to the people that presented. I presented on that Saturday, but I had the opportunity to watch that Friday and I think that Sunday. I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I know I
Mhm.
presented on Saturday, but just to be able to hop on, hop off, and it was an all day thing. So
Mhm.
it was a lot. It was a lot of people. It, it was a lot, and I just couldn't believe how smooth it was. Like, it was totally smooth. And I'm like, sometimes I can't be in the room with my 6 grandkids at the same time without something getting broke, without something getting messed up, without somebody fussing about something. And you had all of these adults and all of these people that have dealt with grief, that's dealing with grief, that teach about grief, that are healing from grief, helping people heal from grief. And some of them, they were not talking directly about the word grief, but they were helping you with the healing side of it. They some of them didn't even use the word, like, talking about it, but it still was the information that was put in there that you was like, okay, I think I can use that. I think that's important. I think I can, you know, I need to follow that person. And I actually started following a lot of them. I've been on a few of them podcasts. I'm in the Global Grief Network. I still see things that they have going on. We still have connections. And that was months ago. And we're halfway to the next one. And most of these people know each other by first name. If somebody say Lacole Smith, they probably be like, "Oh, I know her."
Mhm.
Somebody say Tony Lynch, "Oh, I know him."
Mhm.
Somebody say Ada, "I know her." Chris, I know them. So you name dropping, like, it was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and we love if we're already thinking about how can we make next year's bigger and better, right? And I was like, how do we top this one? I go, I don't know. Leave it to Tony. I'll figure something out.
Definitely, definitely. And
I
then we were connected for months because months before the actual event, we were getting on Zoom calls. We were
Mhm.
talking about, what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, what resources do you need? Can we do XYZ? You was putting out infomercials. It was just amazing. I've never seen anything transition so smoothly, and it was exciting at the same time.
It
Like
was.
I was just, even if I wasn't presenting, just to be on some of the Zoom calls and in the presence of some of the things that was going on coming up to the conference, it was exciting. Like sometimes we was on there for like 45 minutes or an hour, but it was like, okay, this is what's
Yeah,
going on. We laughing, we joking, we talking, you're making new friends, you're making new connections. It, like, everything about it was amazing.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. You know, I definitely appreciate that because you never know sometimes, right? Because you do these things and you hear the horror stories, and I used to always say when I first did this back in 2022, um, didn't know nothing from nothing. I just knew I wanted to do it. That's all it was. I just knew I wanted to do it. Was it a mess putting it all together? Yes. Did the green, did the rookie and me show? It sure did. Okay, it sure did. But the day of the conference, the day that we started the conference, kicked off, and you could never tell that we went through everything that we went through.
Yeah.
Once we had that blueprint, I was like, okay, let's fine tune it a little bit, right? And then, as you saw, the last one that we did was really fine tuned. We was able to bring in some comedy. We had some game shows on there, right? We have
Yeah.
live music, like and it is just like, wow, what else can you do to improve this for other people? And we was able to reach a large audience as well, right? And to
Definitely.
watch people come out of there, to have those connections, to watch them build off of that momentum, it was always a beautiful thing. And I always encourage people, like, when you come off of this thing, make sure that you keep that momentum going because people already know who you are. This is the perfect time to advertise your business and things. Like, I'm going to create every opportunity for you to be able to do that because that's what I want to do. That's where
Exactly.
the infomercials come in. That's where the books and things like that, the videos for the books, that's where all of that stuff comes in because more
Yeah.
people are becoming more aware of who you are and about the work that you do. So it's bigger than just the work that you do, it's the relationships that you're building with those individuals that's going to help make the difference in your success in how you do this, right? And so it's always,
Right.
I love always doing that as well. And it also leads to, meeting amazing people like yourself and being able to work with you because we've done a book as well, the Men Grieve Too. And and more books are coming down the line, right? And for
Right.
those individuals who never thought about writing a book or doing a podcast, how would you encourage them to take that next step to have a bigger voice?
Well, my motto is your voice is important. Speak loudly. That's
Mhm.
one of my mottos. I actually have a shirt that says that your voice is important. Speak loudly. We cannot help anyone being silent. Um, the more we talk about things, the more transparent we are, the more we utilize our voice, the
Mhm.
better things can get. Because if we're seeing things happening and we know it's not right, and we keep quiet, we keep silent, nothing's gonna be done about it. Nothing's gonna happen. Everything that happened in life happened because somebody said something, because somebody made an action, somebody did something. So we gotta stop sitting back on the things that we know can help someone. Whether it's a podcast. If you don't know how to do a podcast, YouTube University teaches you everything. Or find
I'm done.
somebody that or find somebody that's doing a podcast or a show that's similar to what you want to do and watch
Mhm.
it, learn from it, and make it your own. Um, Connect with people that are like minded because birds of a feather do flock together. And sometimes you might be that bird that don't need to be with those feathers. And you gotta get rid of those feathers and move into another area with some more birds.
Exactly.
So, um, just because somebody in your loop says, girl, that ain't gonna never happen. Man, you can't do that. This person over here tried it, they wasn't successful. Well, I'm not them.
Yeah.
It might have not been their assignment. Because sometimes we try to create assignments that are not for us. And we
Mhm.
don't wait on the assignment that's given.
Yeah.
So if it's your assignment, you're gonna be successful. If you're creating something that's not for you, then it's gonna fail. But
Yeah.
just because somebody tell you you're gonna fail doesn't mean that you are. So
Yeah.
stop being afraid to take that step. It took me 7 years to write my book because I was listening to the people around me saying nobody's gonna want to read your book. Who wants to, what can you write about that's gonna be important that somebody's gonna buy your book? And I allowed those words to keep me from doing what I needed to do at that moment when I should have been doing it. And
Exactly.
now I block out the noise.
Yeah.
If you're not
Yeah.
speaking positivity, I don't have time. Um,
I'm right there with
if
you.
you're doing or if you're doing something or saying something that I feel like gonna stress me out, it's time for me to go. I don't do mess. I don't do I don't do drama because that's gonna bring not only me down, but it's gonna bring down the person that you're talking about. So sometimes we have to utilize our voice and say, do you really want to talk about them? So you just perfect and you have nothing in your life that you're doing that's wrong. You have nothing in your life that you've ever done that's wrong. We cannot be the judge of other people because everybody's done something that they're not proud of.
Mhm.
Everybody's been in a situation that they probably wish they wasn't in, but it happened. So we have to be the bigger person. We have to be the person that's carrying the assignment. You know, I can't say I'm leaving a legacy and attached to that legacy is mess and drama.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
now I'm passing this on to my children, my grandchildren. And it's a lot of things that as a mother I probably could have done better. And I'm more than certain I could have. It was a learning
Mhm.
process. But I can tell my children, hey, do this with your children. Do XYZ. You know, I didn't like I said earlier, I wasn't used to people hugging on me and kissing on me. I didn't like those things because that was something that I didn't get a lot of when I was younger. So I wasn't used to people hugging and showing affection. That wasn't my thing. So we have to, break these generational curses that are coming into our life and causing us to do things or act a certain kind of way because we feel like it's wrong because
Yeah.
it wasn't part of your norm. And sometimes a new norm is okay. And sometimes we gotta go back old school. I feel like we need to go back to, excuse my French, we need to go back to tearing up some ass because this I can't put my hand on my children thing ain't working. You
Mhm.
know, um,
Mhm.
it's just a lot,
It
and
is.
we have to start opening our mouths and speaking, whether they like it or whether they don't like it.
Yeah.
If it's put on your heart to speak it, then God said it's time for you to speak it. It's time for you to do it. Take that step. Don't be afraid because He's gonna guide you in the right direction.
Mhm.
Even when it's hard, He's gonna make it look easy on the outside. Even though it's
Yeah,
hard, if I don't know what for you, it's gonna look easy to the person that's watching it.
that's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Now, as we begin to wrap this episode up, I only have a few more questions left for you. One, because you have a podcast too, you didn't say too much about your podcast, but we want people to know where to find your podcast. So, how can people find you on social media and on your podcast?
Um, Everything pretty much is on my website, lacolesmith.com. You can sign up for my website, sign up for my show through my website. If you want to write a book, you can do all that through my website, lacolesmith.com. If you want to watch my show, it's on my group, Motivational Talk Dialogues and Show. You can go in that community, join that community, watch. I have a community called Storytelling Unleashed, and it's more to the author type, the 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 storytellers, the brainstormers. Uh, so I have that. I have a fitness group that I put together recently where I'm talking about healthy eating, where I'm talking about the transition that I'm doing for myself, and I'm being transparent in that group with my journey that I'm going through with that. So if you just want to know a little something about me every day, then Lacole Smith on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm A_L_publishing LLC. Um, I know that I have a TikTok page. I can't even tell you what the name of it is because that's not my thing. Um, I think it's Vicky Young or
Understood.
something. I don't even know. It's Vicky Young something. I'm on LinkedIn as Author Lacole Smith. But the best place to find me is on my website, lacolesmith.com.
Okay. Uh, my second question to you would be, if Nicole had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh Lord.
I
Um,
love that. She said, "Oh Lord."
as crazy as it seems, um, one of the people that I actually liked the most coming up was Wonder Woman. So if I had a superpower, I would have that invisible jet and I would just go around zapping these people with the stupidity. I would zap these people, these men walking with their pants down to their ankles, uh, all of these women that's showing off their bodies, you would get zapped and you would not understand like zap, like what hit me, where it come from. And then I would
You
I
said
would
zap
zap
zap.
some I would zap some sense into a lot of people that's out there that's
I can
and
see
I
you
mean
doing that too.
to each his own. To each his
I can
own,
see you
but
doing that. I be sitting over there in the passenger seat, like Nicole, stop zapping people. Stop. He deserves it. Ding ding.
yep. Yeah,
Like, what did he do?
yeah.
Why did you zap him? Did you not see what he was doing? He was eating ice cream
Exactly.
with. He had no
I, I
arms.
just I just think it's respect needs to be put back in the community.
It
It's
does.
a loss of respect, and
It is.
I would zap respect back into as many people as I can zap it into. That would be my
I like that.
superpower.
I like that. That definitely would change the way the world runs and the way people think about things. Uh, one last question for you. And if you could leave the audience with something, what would you leave them with today?
Stop doubting yourself. Um, Self doubt is very powerful, and the more you doubt yourself, the more you're gonna believe that it is true. So turn that doubt into something positive. Don't be afraid to do the things that you want to do in life. Challenge yourself to something new every day that you doubted. Uh, if you just doubt that you can't drive, Try to learn how to drive. If you doubt whatever it is, try it. You might like it.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Grief Let's Talk About It podcast. I want to thank everybody, especially my wonderful guest, Lacole, to for being on the show today, and everybody for allowing me to keep bringing these conversations with you guys. Again, Lacole's information is in the YouTube channel, so if you guys want to get a hold of her, go check her out. Maybe you got a book, maybe you struggling to try to figure out good people to get your book started and published and put out there into the world. Go check out Lacole. She does really amazing work. I can definitely I've worked with her and going to continue working with her and encourage you guys to do the same. And with that being said, if you have not already, you made it all the way to the end, or maybe you just now tuned in, do me a favor, head on over to their YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, so you'll be notified every time that we drop a new episode. And most importantly, maybe you know somebody who could benefit from the conversations that we have. Do me a favor, share this along with them. And with that being said, Lacole, again, thank you for being on the show. For everyone else, you guys already know what it is. This is Tony Mitch. I'm the host of the show. And as always, if you're not doing it, go out and make memories with the people that you love, because tomorrow's never promised to you. And as always, we're going to see you guys in the next one. We love you and always thank you for your support. Lacole, see you in the next one.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
All right.